Hello, everyone. I'm Colin Test of WrestleZone.com, joined by Black Jeez of the NWA here ahead of the first ever live episode of NWA Powerrr on January 31st, as well as NWA Nuff Said on February 11th. We're going to talk all about that. But Black Jeez, how you doing today?
Pretty good, man. Thanks again for having me, bro.
Thanks for taking
Appreciate
the
it.
time. Appreciate it. So, as I just said, we're ahead of two really big events here for the NWA, and you are very much at the forefront of that here with the Church's Money by Idolmania Sports Management. You're manager of Tyrus, the world champion, manager of Jordan Clearwater, the TV champion, as well as Sion, the national champion. You got the stable full of champions, and so you guys are like pretty much dominating the NWA at this point. What does that feel like?
Oh, it feels great, man. I mean, when they put us together, I'm not sure if anybody thought that this was going to happen, but here we are. We got the top of the NWA, top act in the company, and it feels good. Got all the championships except for the junior heavyweight championship, but that might be coming soon, though.
Would that potentially come with a new recruit or someone that's already in the stable, maybe?
That would be me, sir. That
Oh,
would
of
be me.
course. There you go.
You know what I mean?
What would you say has kind of been the recipe to the group success at this point? I mean, you're kind of at the forefront of that, but it takes a great manager to lead people to greatness. So what would you say is kind of helps propel Tyrus, Clearwater, Sion, all these guys to the gold here, while you're also now focusing on your own quest for the gold?
I mean, I would say that we all knew what the plan was. The plan was to be at the top of the company, and we when we got together, we all clicked right away. You know what I mean? So we looked at it as a team effort, and if we put our heads together and stay on course, things would happen. And you know what I mean? That's what we did, and all the success is happening right now. It's a beautiful thing.
Just to circle back and go a little more general for a minute. You're a veteran of the industry. You've been in the business for, I think, over 15 years at this point. What does working for a company like the NWA mean to you? Obviously, the NWA, very prestigious, goes back many, many, many years to, the early years of wrestling as we know it at this point. So
Mhm.
being involved, especially as we're just talking about in a very prominent way with the world champion, with all other titles as well. What does that mean to you as a veteran to kind of be with the NWA at this point?
I mean, it feels great, man. I mean, NWA is the company that I loved as a kid, and to be in this company, it's a great feeling. Um, and like it's a lot of companies out there. It's a lot of product out there. And for me personally, NWA is the place for me because it's a lot of companies they focus on like the a lot on the high flying style, the a lot of moves or whatever. NWA, just like it was back in the day, it focuses on story, it focuses on characters. You know what I mean? And I'm a big fan of that. I'm a big proponent of that. And just NWA focusing on stories, that's great for me. It's a perfect fit.
And so one of those stories, as we've been talking about, is the greatness of your stable here. You're collecting all the gold. What would you say kind of separates Idolmania Sports Management or the Church's Money from other stables here? There are other stables. Other stables have multiple champions, obviously throughout history in general. But at this point, I mean, what you guys are doing is pretty much, it's very unique in the wrestling world today, where you don't have a company, a stable in a company that kind of has so much gold at the same time. You don't see that all too often. So what would you say kind of sets you guys apart? Maybe aside that, the fact that you have the gold, it's in a more general sense, the stables are everywhere in wrestling. But what kind of sets you guys apart?
I think it's because when you look at everybody that's in this group, you look at all of us, and you wouldn't necessarily see all of us together. You know what I mean? It's like you probably wouldn't see Black G's with Jordan Clearwater. You probably wouldn't see Sion with Tyrus. So it's like a collection of guys that you wouldn't think would be together in a group and be able to shine so much. But I think that's great because we're all different. We're all different personalities, and we all like come together to make this happen. And you know what I mean? It's just a great feeling to be able to make all these successes happen.
What would you say is kind of the tie that binds you together? You were just talking about you guys are maybe different on the surface. You wouldn't necessarily expect to see you guys together, but especially with the success you're having, what kind of what makes it work? We're talking about the secret ingredient maybe, but like what makes the group work maybe in a more general sense? And
I,
you
I
can.
I think it's because there isn't any egos, like all of us have had success in pro wrestling, you know what I'm saying, in different levels, Tyrus was already established before he came to NWA. Austin Idol, you know the history of Austin Idol. Austin Idol is a legend. You know what I mean? I've had my successes on the indies, had brushes with TV, you know what I mean? Jordan Clearwater, he's on the come up, you know what I mean? So it's like since we've been able to get things done in other companies throughout our careers, we know how to like um be a team. You know what I mean? We know when to everybody knows when to take the lead or when to pull back. You know what I mean? So again, it's no egos. We look at this as a team effort. You know what I mean? So I think that's the thing that makes things work for us.
Talking about that team effort here, you're talking about your own aspirations to be the junior heavyweight champ potentially. So that's but it's seemingly one goal. But you already have several titles already. Now you mentioned that goal as well. Are there any additional kind of hopes or plans to kind of challenge for more gold? I mean, there's only so many titles you can go for, but do you guys do you want all the titles, or are you talking maybe the tag titles, the US tag titles? Like, what are we looking at here? It's still January, it's a good time for goals and everything in the new year.
I mean, anything can happen, but I think the primary goal is to make sure that Tyrus remains the world heavyweight champion. That's the big belt. That's the most important belt in this game. So we're gonna do everything in our power to make sure that Tyrus keeps that 10 pounds of gold. Then everything else will fall into place.
Speaking of which, Tyrus is going to be signing the contract for his title match with Matt Cardona on the live episode of NWA Powerrr on January 31st. We're going to talk all about that match coming up, but at least in a general sense, as I said earlier, it's the first live episode of Powerrr here for the NWA, and a lot of people are kind of seeing that as a really good opportunity for growth, or just in general a good step forward for the NWA to have a live show like that. What would you say? How does having a live show maybe help rather than tapings and doing the usual model as the NWA has done so far? What's the kind of the draw or the appeal maybe of the live show, at least in your perspective?
I mean, the appeal is that it's live, and when it's live, there's no retakes. You know what I mean? You got to be on your game. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's going to be watching. There's negative people out there that want the company to fail, and that's not going to happen. We have a roster full of talented people, and we thrive. We're thriving on this being live. You know what I mean? All of us know what we're doing, bro. And that live show is going to be history making. It's going to be a great show. We're looking forward to it.
You bring it up, so I just want to kind of address it a little bit. There has been, especially the past couple of days or so, there's been some online chatter, some of it very negative, but then some of it very positive. Camille stepped up and really said, hey, we have a great company here, and speaking up for the company, saying, Darrenet's a very especially in the wrestling community, it can be a very nasty place sometimes. But there's some negativity there. But anyway, it's a company. People work there. You guys are putting on a good product week in, week out. You've got a big show coming up here. What do you kind of say to that kind of the general sentiment there to people that are maybe not so high on the product, or whatever you want to say?
Right.
What to that negativity? Like, what's your kind of message to for the NWA, I guess?
Well, for me, I embrace it. People are going to talk. People are going to have their opinions, good and bad. To me, it doesn't matter. You just however you feel, say it. You know what I'm saying? If it's positive, that's great. If it's negative, keep hitting us with us. Keep hitting us with the negativity, because I embrace it. That negativity, that keeps that hunger going. That keeps that fire burning. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I've been dealing with negativity throughout my entire career. So when I hear that negativity, it just hypes me up. It just makes me want to shine even more. It just makes me want to prove people wrong. So if you got negative opinions, keep it coming. We embrace it, baby. Keep it coming.
It seems like that's the case, and the NWA continues to grow here. We're talking about the live episode of NWA Powerrr on January 31st. Got a big pay-per-view event coming up, Nuff Said, on February 11th. We're going to talk about that as well. We're going to keep it a little general before we hone in on that a little bit. Talking about the live show, we're talking about the growth of your stable, but maybe in a more general sense, what are some ways you think the company could grow, move forward, and or if you want to take it, how would you like to help the company grow if you can? Kind of moving forward here, again, you're in a very prominent spot alongside Tyrus. So either what do you think that you want to do, or in a more general sense, what do you think the NWA can do to kind of keep evolving and progressing here, moving forward?
Well, we on the right track, having this live episode, that's definitely on the right track. So the whole goal is to continue to get more and more eyes on the product, keep hitting them with them hard, those great stories that entertaining product, and the sky's the limit, So just to simplify it, just get more eyes on the product, eventually get a big TV deal so that more people can see NWA, because we're doing some great things. Since I've been there, the company's gotten bigger. So, you know what I mean? We just starting off the year, and I think that it's going to be an even bigger year for NWA. You know what I mean? Company is going to Mexico, doing a joint show with AAA in March. So, you know what I mean? So it's nothing but positives on the horizon for the NWA.
One of those big things that the company will be doing will be the Nuff Said show on February 11th. We're going to talk about that title match, but to circle back, so that in that match, Tyrus will be defending the gold against Matt Cardona. Tyrus won the title at Hard Times 3 by beating Trevor Murdoch and Matt Cardona in a three-way match. Again, we're talking about you're his manager, you're really featured in that spot with him. What I mean, do you like when he won the title, and we talked about like kind of how you feel now, but kind of looking back on that, what it feels for you to kind of be in that position as his manager, kind of, you're in the spotlight as well. You're the manager of the champion. So seeing him win the title there, what did that mean to you, and how did that feel in the moment?
I mean, it was a great feeling, man. I mean, it felt good to be right there with Tyrus, watching him win that heavyweight championship. And the match previous when Tyrus went challenged Trevor for the belt and didn't get the championship, we were all a little down. You know what I mean? We thought that was going to be our night, but we just kept fighting. You know what I mean? And Tyrus, with all the success that he's had, he's still hungry, man. He's still fighting. That's the thing. Like, he'll get successes, and he doesn't just he's never content. He wants to keep seeing success. So again, man, that loss that had us all down, but Tyrus, you saw Tyrus, he went harder in the gym, man. He just started focusing more and more and won the heavyweight championship. So it was a great feeling, man. I mean, I don't even think I can like really put it into words, man, but it was it was emotional. It was great, and I'm happy that Tyrus won that heavyweight championship.
And we're going to see him defend that title at Nuff Said on February 11th against Matt Cardona. I had the opportunity to talk to Matt Cardona yesterday, and one thing he kind of honed in on was, Matt Cardona was in that three-way match where Tyrus won the title. He pinned Murdoch in that match. Tyrus has not beaten Matt Murdoch. The fall was not decided with Matt Cardona in that match. So is that something that kind of weighs on your mind as a strategy, on Tyrus's mind here at this match, where it's like there's still that kind of that aspect of it where it's like, almost like an unknown quality, where it's like he's beating Tyrus for a rematch, or he's beating Murdoch for a rematch. That's one thing, but now this is kind of a new opponent in a singles match. In that sense, is that kind of dynamic factoring in your approach or Tyrus's approach ahead of the match here?
I mean, we're definitely aware of it. I mean, yeah, Tyrus didn't beat Cardona. We're aware of that. So Cardona, he definitely has a gripe. He definitely has an argument. And if I know Cardona, he's definitely going to have some tricks up his sleeve. We're aware of that. We're ready for that. But February 11th, there has to be a winner. And I would put my money on Tyrus. There's no way that I'm going to allow Matt Cardona to walk out of Tampa with the heavyweight championship. And I know Matt Cardona is going to bring everything that he has, And but again, can you hear me? Okay. Yeah, I mean, Matt Cardona, he's gonna bring the fight, but again, man, I'm not gonna allow Matt Cardona to walk out of Tampa with the heavyweight championship.
Fighting words from BLK Jeez here ahead of NWA Nuff Said on February 11th. Now, one more time, one more message for the fans. Why should they tune in on February 11th? It's going to be on Fight TV to see Tyrus defend the title against Matt Cardona, defending the NWA World Heavyweight Championship.
That's the reason. Tyrus versus Matt Cardona, that's a money match for the most prestigious championship in our sport. You know what I mean? And the pay-per-view is named after Tyrus, Nuff Said. So Matt Cardona versus Tyrus, NWA World Heavyweight Championship, Nuff Said.
There you have it, folks. Nuff Said, but February 11th here. I'll be on Fight TV for the NWA. If you're in the area, if you can get to it, go. It's going to be a great show. If not, make sure to check it out on Fight TV. BLK Jeez, Any last, parting words to the fans, or if you want to plug anything on socials, anything like that?
Yeah, definitely. I want to thank the fans for their support, and I want to thank the fans for the negativity. I keep saying it, and I keep saying it. Bring that negativity. We love it. We embrace it. You know what I'm saying? We mentally strong, so you cannot crack us. So all of that negativity, that just fires us up, baby. So make sure that you come out to the live NWA Powerrr taping on January 31st in Knoxville. Make sure y'all come out. Matter of fact, I know I'll see all of y'all out there in Tampa, February 11th for the pay-per-view. I mean, you can check me out, check the Church's Money Black Jeez out on Twitter and Instagram at Jeez215. That's Jeez 215. Thanks for your support. Thanks for having me on the interview, bro. Appreciate you.
Black Jeez, thank you so very much for your time. I wish you and Tyrus the best of luck here with Nuff Said and everything moving forward.
Thank you.